so much to discuss.
Yes, exciting times.
Exciting times.
We are in exciting times. Yeah, the day after the Apple iPhone announcement. So maybe we should start there. What makes you excited for the new iPhones?
Well, actually, the complete keynote is one of my. It's like a treat for the eyes because the production value is so high.
It's insane, right?
Yeah. It's always a pleasure to watch these. And
I also feel like it's getting better every single time.
Yeah, but I can still remember the first iPhone that was released, the keynote.
A widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device. An iPod. A phone. Are you getting it? These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
Back in those days, the show itself was all about like insane presentation skills, like a keynote that basically, at least most companies didn't give at that level.
No.
And that's quickly switched during COVID to an amazing video production.
The thing with the live thing with the audience, everybody's like applauding. I still miss it, but then the production value, like all the seamless transitions, even the intro that Tim Cook walks out of the desert. Well, man, insane.
You're spoiling it. I only saw the specs about the iPhone and didn't watch the keynote yet.
Let's skip the keynote. Let's just cut the chase.
Oh, I'm interested in the production of the keynote as well. Yeah.
But let's talk about the iPhone because we were debating about new high quality. We're debating about our setup. A lot of cables.
So what is actually new in the iPhone?
They launched, of course, a quicker, better, faster chip. More resolution, better image quality, better processing, better noise in low light.
Yeah.
But then the most cool feature, I think, that they shoot in ProRes.
Yeah. Why are you excited about ProRes?
Well, the thing is, if you record with a camera, capacity is always an issue. So they made a format that is very compact, H.264, which is like a compression. So you have decent quality, but it's compressed. Compression means you lose quality. ProRes is a feature that is currently only enabled in Pro cameras, like Pro €1,000 up. And now, I mean, the iPhone is not cheap, but still, it's a phone.
Gets pretty close to the professional camera setup nowadays.
Now you can call with your professional camera. That's a new feature.
Yeah. Another feature they added is the cinematic video. Basically, what you can do with the portrait mode on your iPhone, sort of if you would shoot a photo, is now available on video as well, which is one of the effects that we're adding to detail.
So the bokeh style.
Yeah, and what happens is, or how the way they do it is actually segmenting using 2 lenses, and then basically making like taking the difference between those pictures and using that to background blur.
I saw this this auto. You can do blur in post production. You can focus in post.
I'm curious about that one. I'm curious how that works. But in general, sort of, I think it's interesting to see that sort of. With the device, I'm curious if they will be shipping it to the older iPhones as well. But we now get sort of the iPhones are fast enough to be able to do that on the fly.
Yeah.
Where in the past the processing power of an iPhone wasn't fast enough to actually keep up with at least 30 frames per second to blur in real time. And so that's one of the effects that we're adding to detail as a camera app as well. Sort of being able to increase the picture, the sort of almost the cinematic feel of that picture by blurring the background, in contrast to like an artificial or a fake background and cropping out people, where you see like sort of a blob of data around you.
We are building an app. We are able to transfer your image wirelessly and cable, and we have a virtual plugin for Zoom, Loom, etc.
Yeah, so we basically started building a virtual webcam. So what means is that you can use detail as your camera in Zoom, Loom, YouTube, to stream on Twitch or wherever you use a typical webcam. But then the challenge is sort of how do you upgrade that picture? And the easiest way to do that today is by using that fancy iPhone. So that's why I'm so excited about the new, new models.
Even with old
any old iPhone, and if you compare the quality of an iPhone with just an average webcam, I showed some side-by-side comparisons, comparing it, for example, to the Logitech HD 920 webcam, which is, I think, one of the best-selling devices from Logitech, which is a 1080p webcam. It's just day and night, literally. Sort of, it looks like I described it as a mugshot in a dark police station during a power outage. No, well, I don't. But if you look at the camera quality, it's really, really bad, and even sort of the pretty okay eyesight camera in your MacBook in recent MacBooks is still sort of, in terms of quality, very minimal compared to the fancy iPhones. And yesterday with the new announcements, sort of you see sort of every single flagship phone today has like an insane camera because we value the quality of the output.
And multiple lenses.
Lenses, and it gives you all kinds of different variations of shots, and it has an amazing sort of capacity in terms of processing power. So if you look at if you compare the GPU in your iPhone or the CPU in your iPhone with the, for example, a MacBook, performance gets pretty close, which means that it's a very capable device. That combined with the fact that video becomes more and more about processing and not so much about the glass or the sensor. If that's taken care of, how do you actually sort of use the device to bring video to life? So we started out building just the webcam, and the webcam enables you to upgrade your video quality on your Mac, so you get actually a really decent camera. But you can also use detail with your DSLR, or you can use it sort of in a setup like this, where you hook up your DSLR with a capture card or a third-party, more expensive webcam that works as well. But then an easy upgrade is actually using your iPhone.
So, okay, we are here right now, right? It works. We're still in beta, but we shipped, so people can download it.
We ship every week.
And we have updates every week, which I would definitely encourage people to subscribe so they get more updates. We can talk about new features. Your favorite feature is the blur, I know.
It's one of them. I think sort of the reason why I'm so excited about the blur is that it's actually sort of, we have like some color grades in the app, and sort of we set up the connection, and it was quite, I would say, it's pretty complicated to get like a stable connection between your iPhone and then being able to use that as a virtual camera on your Mac. It sounds very trivial, but the underlying foundation is pretty complicated to do that in a way that actually feels seamless and that you don't have to worry about connection. One of the issues that we had in the first beta releases was that a lot of people ran into connectivity issues and didn't work on my specific router, or didn't work on my network, or my network connection wasn't stable enough. So getting that really, building like a really solid foundation was pretty hard. Now with that blur, we suddenly can sort of reap the benefits of what we build, and we can reap the benefits of having that capable iPhone with great processing to actually do something with the image. And sort of a blur is not that fancy. Sort of there are other apps that do sort-like things. Typically, it looks a little bit artificial, so we try to really focus on the cinematic effect. And hopefully Apple will introduce that blur as an API, so we don't have to do it on the device neither. But it's actually the first time that we run things through our video pipeline. So we built under the hood. We built like basically like a video pipeline that can process and every single frame that goes through it. So that means that we can sort of apply color grades. That means that we can start framing your picture in different ways. That means that we can start blurring the image.
This pipeline is processed on the device, right?
Depends on what you use. So if you use if you use let's say that you would connect your DSLR to your Mac, it happens on your Mac. If you use an iPhone, it actually happens on the iPhone. Or if you use an iPad as your camera, we process on the iOS device.
So the reason I'm asking that we're shipping, so that's nice. We have a functional app. We have less connectivity problems, so we have pretty cool feedback from users. But we're building something new. Can you elaborate a little bit on this one without
just a little sort of tip?
Tip.
So there are basically a few things that we focus on. One is sort of how can we make your camera the best camera for live streaming and recording on your Mac. So upgrading the camera in best possible ways. So the background blur is an example. Auto framing is an example, so automatically following you through a frame, giving you tips and hints on how to improve the quality is an example. And the second bucket of things that we're experimenting with is how do we make it easier to actually introduce more dynamic video into your feed. So if you're streaming or if you're recording, you have, for example, challenges around how do I mix up these two different shots. So in this case, we're using 3 different cameras to get different angles. And being able to mix that in actually creates a more dynamic picture. So if you look at an Apple keynote, for example, or someone sort of doing like a live stream for music, or someone doing a virtual cooking class, or presenting a class to kids online, using 2 different cameras is a great way to actually mix up the picture or to explain something. If you have like a top view while I'm demoing or when I'm reading a book, I can show you the pictures in the book. When I'm doing like a live DJ set, I wish I could. I'm definitely not a DJ, but if you would be recording a DJ set, having like a shot on the tables and at the same time another close up of your face while you're giving your show, instantly brings sort of more dynamic image.
There was quite a big of a design upgrade coming up. Can you tell something? Well, can we talk about the scenes?
So what we're doing with scenes is basically giving you the ability to prepare a scene. And a scene is a combination of a camera, a theme, so a filter that you can add on the camera, and any media file. So that could be an overlay with a title. It could be a video that starts playing. It could be background music. It could be just an image. So your camera would be hiding and it would be right there, or be right back, or it would show like a slide of a presentation. So people are totally free to use that. Just think of it as like a PowerPoint presentation where every slide can have your camera or not. You can prepare it in advance before you go live, but it could also be 2 different camera angles. So if you set up one scene for camera A, another scene for camera B, you can basically toggle between those scenes with shortcuts and in the interface itself.
That's nice. I think the scenes is...
Actually, if you want to get a preview, you should log into our Discord community. And you'll get...
Here we go.
First prime access. We'll be sharing that in things like that in the community as well. I think it's just starting off as sort of and for us to build a better product, one of the most important things that we can do is make it better every single day. Yeah. And sort of, I personally believe that one of the sort of most important things for a product development team like ours is to actually get sort of focus on cadence and sort of really sort of getting rhythm to the development cycles and be laser focused on continuously improving and trying to get those improvements into the hands of the folks that are using the app every single day. Yeah. So what we do typically is on Fridays we ship an internal release, and one of the worst things that you can do is ship a release of an app on a Friday, at least to public. So that's why we make it an internal release, which means that we have like a staging version of the app. And that staging version is being shared with every team member. And currently, sort of, as of today, it's like 15 or 16 people, and they're working 11.
We were 11 last week.
Yeah, so last week was 11. Now 16 people, and those 16 people hopefully all install the app. And then sort of for the first few days of the week, we're actually experimenting and testing all the different features. Typically, we have like a list of things that changed, so we make sure that we use the app as much as we can before it goes out to a larger group. And it's still a beta, so detail in that sense. Sort of, I think we can still make mistakes, and hopefully it's stable in 99% of the cases. But it's a beta, so there might be sort of mistakes that make it out into the production release. And then on Tuesday or Wednesday, typically we ship an update to everyone else. So it means that we publish the update. When you check for an update in the app, if you install the app, you automatically update, and the same goes for the App Store. So roughly every week, every 2 weeks, sometimes we skip a release because there's like bigger things coming, or we want to sort of finalize a little thing because we ran into issues on Tuesday. Like this week, we ran into small glitches this week, so the release probably goes out on Friday. But that way, roughly every week, there will be a new update of the app that shows progress.
Do you think it's important that you that we do frequent updates? I personally like it because then I have the idea that the app I'm using that's taken care of, even with newer apps or not per se newer app, even with apps that are already very established.
Yeah. Especially in this phase of the company, it's super sort of, you literally sort of like a few months ago, we started with a single user, right? So there is always this single first person that starts using the app, and it's pretty scary to put it out there and sort of start collecting that. And sort of, I remember when we first opened the beta to more people, sort of the connection was so bad. And sort of for most, I think 30 or 40% of the people, for most people it worked, but for 30 or 40% of the people, they ran into glitches and issues. But at the same time, if you show that every week it's getting a little bit better, typically sort of if people run into severe issues, they might drop, and sometimes you never see them back. But at the same time, sort of if people sign up to become part of like an early group of testers, by shipping something new every week, you actually show the progress of the product. And by every single feature that we're shipping, we also try to tell a little bit of a story. And sort of every single time they add something to the app, it helps to sort of re-emphasize the thing that we're going after. And sort of we have this sort of long-term plan for what we can do with detail and how we can make it easier to produce like live and recorded video. But that's like a long, long road ahead, and sort of it's complicated what we're building.
I really like the fact that we finally sort of started using our Discord community, because I think users can give us a lot of interesting feedback, new feature requests, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was so excited waking up this morning and seeing like the first folks sharing feedback and sharing how they currently do, for example, a live stream and what other tools they're using. And sort of course, we had these types of conversations with other people behind the scenes. I was new to Discord, so I was sort of felt a little bit sort of. I logged into Discord like a couple of months ago. I started experimenting, and I joined a few different communities, and it reminds me also a little bit of the. Now I sound old, but sort of I grew up at IRC.
Yes.
And this is still the same vibe. I remember sort of like 15 or 20 years ago joining some of these channels around web development and web designers.
Even IRC was for me so visual.
Yeah.
With the colors and like.
Yeah, and I tweaked it, and you had these scripts and bots, and so that vibe, sort of being able to. As in our world, sort of, or in our world, sort of in sort of typical startups, almost everyone uses Slack, right? Sort of, and you think, oh, everyone is using Slack. No, in a small part of the world, there are some people that use Slack. Yeah. And then sort of Discord is a little bit the same, but it's crossing over into different sort of industries, and the origins of Discord are also different. So the vibe that you get by building out a community like this is also very different.
Very playful in a good way.
Yeah, and I very much sort of enjoy just hanging out there and sort of trying to shape this, and sort of all of these things are new for us as well. Yeah. So it's fun that other people are sort of. Literally, it's the same as that product, right? So that very first person downloading the app and installing it and giving feedback, and then you actually sort of get sort of see them sort of using it. That's super exciting, and this felt a little bit the same when we announced the Discord community, and the first person joined us. Is sort of, there's someone joining. This is really awesome. And what we're gonna do there is sort of we'll figure it out, and sort of I think a lot of it will be driven by sort of request and people jumping in, and sort of I don't think we should shape that too much.
Social media and community is so important, so why not have a channel where you can have a discussion with them and be open for suggestions? So I think it's
and sort of I'm sort of in the past years sort of I did a lot on. I remember when we were growing Human, that was the place to do that was Facebook, and when I was starting like the early days of Usabilla, the first folks that I connected with through Twitter. It was sort of the early days of Twitter, and I remember like building up the follower base of the company account and my own personal Twitter handle, and that was a place where you had sort of conversations still. And now this feels like a great sort of. It just feels like sort of you get like a new era. So it might sound really old, but I'm really excited to just open the conversation, because that's exactly how we've been operating, and that conversation doesn't happen face to face typically for a product like ours. It's basically sort of teaming up with folks, hearing their ideas, sharing tips and practice. Sort of one of the one questions that I get about details: how can I mount my camera? Right. So we made like a little video that explains it, and sort of I keep repeating that video. This is the mount. Sort of, I'm glad that you have one here. But there are other.
Brought it here for showing purposes, but it's pretty cool actually.
Yeah, so this is my little sort of experiment. This keeps me entertained during the evenings.
This is your hobby.
This is my hobby. So this is a 3D printed mount that you can put over the back of your Mac screen. So you basically sort of your phone is. I want to show it. There you go.
Sorry.
So basically, this way you can.
It's pretty cool.
I'm actually really proud of this as well, and it works sort of. So this is like the MacBook Pro. It's the 17. Is it 16 or 17 inch model?
Yeah.
So it has a pretty sturdy hinge. So I'm using a MacBook Air, and because of the weight of the phone, this is the iPhone Mini. If you tilt it a little bit to the back, in my case, the hinge is sort of it would start moving, but in a typical angle, it works pretty well and it's flexible. And what I like about it is they can actually take it in and out. So this is home.
So
and
smart
because I wanted to print these and I want to give them to folks that are interested in getting these, because I got so many questions about like how do I mount my phone. And there are really awesome mounts available. Sort of the Moment MagSafe mount, which attaches to MagSafe at the back of your iPhone, is magical. It's a really, really good device.
Yeah.
And the good thing about that one is just take it off, take it on. And especially if you do that multiple times per day. And then there's like the Joby grip tie, which you can slide your phone in and out. It's super nice. But this is 20 cents in material.
Don't tell them. Don't.
Well, I'd be happy to share. I'd be happy to share
I think we should ship like the first ones to.
Well,
to
I even better. Sort of, I would love to just get people to download the model and print them themselves. Yeah. This is like the. It's funny. This pad at the bottom is basically like a pad that you use under the legs of your chair. So it's like a rubber pad. Because we're gonna make quite a few of these, and there are already quite a few folks that subscribe to get one.
Okay, so people can sign up.
They can sign up.
Drop us a link.
No, we have like a form that you can fill out, and then I'll take the address, I'll write it on an envelope, I'll put these in an envelope, and I'll ship them to you.
How many? Let's put a cap. 500?
No. I'm not going to send 500 of these. I'm going to send sort of a selection of folks one of these. Yeah.
But do sign up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask
and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the least you can do if I have to ship envelopes.
Okay. I'll make sure that everybody that signs up gets one.
I'll just drop the envelopes here at your place.
It's fine.
I'll print them for you, and you'll hand write the envelopes if it's 500.
I'll automate this process. So everybody that subscribes until I'll put a max on this, but everybody subscribes gets one from me.
Good. Yeah, I'll print them. You can ship.
Yeah, why not?
We'll hold them to it.
Super cool. There's even a mount on it for tripod. So you definitely want one.
So it's basically like this is the standard hole that you can use. So you can attach this to a tripod plate.
Yep.
So typically tripods have like a little screw hole, and that's the exact size. And then there is another version that just that doesn't hold on your MacBook screen, but it basically just holds your phone, and it has an Arca plate bottom. An Arca plate is the standard for tripods.
Yeah,
it's just the reason why we
really well thought.
Well, the thing is sort of how do you make it as easy as possible to mount your phone? There are great alternatives, but it was just a fun experiment.
Subscribe. Can we zoom in a little bit on the team? I joined as number 8. Last week we were with 11.
Yeah.
And now we are with 15. So
and that sounds like really steep, which it actually is. But we set off to build something really unique and different, and try to make like an amazing product to produce video and record video, stream video, and that requires a lot of different skills. So we're backed by amazing investors, and that gives us a little bit more headroom to actually build like a super strong early team. So initially, if you look at our team, then sort of it's a mixture of like product development, product design roughly, and I would say video and go-to-market, or video and marketing, because we believe that video is one of the most important sort of things that we need to experiment with and that we can use to share our story, practice what you preach. We should really sort of, whatever we do, and every single time that we make something is actually great learning. So whether it's interesting to a lot of other people or not, even the process of creating it is already super valuable. So that's roughly the team sort of split between, and then of course operations. So we have like Anne helping with operations, and an amazing recruiter who helps us find the best people to join our team. And then sort of if that engine is working, then suddenly sort of you see last week sort of there was a lot of sort of build up momentum around extending those offers to amazing people to join the team as well. And that's again a combination of product folks that are working behind the scenes. I'm building building the product design, product design,
and great designers and product designers.
Yeah, and it's sort of a well-rounded like product or a well-rounded product team is basically like engineering, product design, and product, I would say. And in an early stage startup, that's still very much sort of flows into each other. It's not like really set roles. So we have a lot of folks on our team that actually are a little bit like Jane or Jack of all trades, that bring a variety of different skills. And even like video as an example, sort of if we hire someone like you on video, it's not only to work on sort of producing great videos for ourselves, but it's actually also bringing insights to the team to build a better product.
Because then there's one more important thing than just assets, is the team, right?
And the team for us is like everything. And also personally, for what motivates me is working with the best, I would say the smartest and the kindest people.
Thank you.
Well, I think in the end, sort of we're spending a lot of hours of our day working on something, and that something should be exciting, but who you're working with is even more important than how you're working together. And that to me is that's the reason why I started another company, is sort of being able to sort of work with just really inspiring other people. And that makes it fun. Of course, I'm really excited and passionate about what we're doing in terms of product and the market that we go after, because there's so much opportunity. But if you can do that with people that you really enjoy working with, that's even better.
Yeah.
Let's place a bet. Within the next 8 weeks, we would be able to fully record this in detail.
Challenge accepted.